The massive Ark ship emerged from the darkness beyond Neptune, its once gleaming hull scarred by weapons fire and cosmic debris. 6 more followed in tight formation, their propulsion systems flickering erratically as they limped toward the inner solar system. Earth's deep space monitoring stations erupted with alerts. Military commands went to high readiness, and civilians around the world watched their feeds in stunned silence as humanity faced its first confirmed contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. "This is Ambassador Elorix of the Valoran Collective," came the transmission, the alien's voice processed through rudimentary translation software. The creature on screen had azure skin with luminescent patterns that pulsed with each word. "We come seeking asylum and alliance. We are the last survivors of a civilization that spanned 27 star systems before the Calmorden found us." The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session as xenolinguists refined the translation. The Valoran story emerged with chilling clarity. For millennia, they had existed under the protection of an organization called the Galactic Council, paying tribute in resources and scientific discoveries. Then, without warning, the Council had withdrawn its defense fleets, declaring the Valorans evolutionarily stagnant and unworthy of continued investment. The Calmorden came within a standard solar cycle, Elorix explained, elegant 6-fingered hands clasped in what humans would later learn was a gesture of supplication. They are not conquerors. They are consumers. They harvest worlds completely, biomass, resources, knowledge, leaving nothing behind. General Helena Reeves, commander of Earth's Unified Defense Forces, voiced the question on everyone's mind. Why Earth? There must be other systems beyond the Council's influence. Your species is known to us, Elorix replied. Distant observations. Intercepted transmissions. You are unique among space-capable civilizations we have encountered. You advance rapidly, adapt constantly. The Council avoids your sector deliberately. They find your evolutionary patterns disturbing. The debate over Earth's response lasted 3 tense days. Military advisors counseled extreme caution. The refugees might bring their predators to our doorstep. Humanitarian organizations argued we had a moral obligation to assist. Scientists salivated at the technological opportunities, though preliminary scans showed Valoran technology to be oddly static despite its advancement, as if they had reached a developmental plateau millennia ago and simply stopped innovating. On the 4th day, the vote passed by a narrow margin. Earth would offer sanctuary. The Valorans would be permitted to establish settlements on Mars and within lunar habitation domes with appropriate security protocols. Dr. Maya Reyes, appointed to head the Xenocultural Exchange Program, observed the Valorans as they disembarked their damaged vessels. Despite their obvious relief, they moved with an eerie precision, each individual seemingly fulfilling a predetermined function without deviation. Their gratitude appeared genuine, yet there was something in their luminescent eyes that troubled her, not deception, but fear. Not of humans, but of something else she couldn't yet identify. "Welcome to Sol System," she said, extending her hand to Elorix in the human gesture of greeting they had prepared the ambassador to expect. Elorix's fingers trembled slightly as they met hers. "Thank you for your mercy," the alien replied. "I pray it does not become your downfall." 3 months after the Valorans' arrival, the Martian settlement, New Haven, had transformed from a collection of emergency shelters into a functioning community. The aliens had proven themselves remarkable builders, their structures blending functionality with haunting beauty. Crystalline spires captured Martian sunlight during the day and glowed softly throughout the night, their luminescence matching the patterns on Valoran skin. Dr. Maya Reyes adjusted her environment suit as she approached Ambassador Elorix's dwelling. The settlement maintained Valoran atmospheric conditions, slightly higher oxygen, more humidity than humans typically used on Mars, necessitating adaptive equipment for extended visits. "Your people have accomplished much in a short time," Maya commented as Elorix guided her through perfectly arranged gardens, where blue-tinted vegetation grew in precise geometric patterns. "We each know our purpose. the ambassador replied. The builder cast designs, the creator cased constructs, the caretaker cased maintains. It has always been so. Maya had noted this rigidity before. The Valerian society functioned like a perfectly tuned machine, each individual seemingly content within predetermined roles established at birth. Their art was breathtaking, their engineering impressive, but they displayed virtually no innovation. When faced with unexpected problems, they often froze, waiting for instructions from appropriate authorities. Ambassador, I've been analyzing the medical data your people provided, Maya said carefully as they reached a private chamber. With your permission, I'd like to discuss some anomalies. Elorix's luminescent patterns dimmed slightly. What anomalies? Maya activated her tablet, displaying genetic sequences. Your species' DNA contains markers that appear artificial, regulatory sequences inserted with precision. They're most concentrated in regions associated with neurological development and genetic adaptation. The ambassador stared at the display, expression unreadable. What does this mean? It means, Maya said gently, that someone has been modifying your people's genetic code for thousands of generations. These modifications specifically limit neural plasticity and adaptive response, qualities essential for innovation and evolutionary advancement. Elorix remained silent for so long that Maya wondered if she'd violated some cultural taboo. Finally, the ambassador's voice emerged barely above a whisper. The council told us we were flawed from our evolutionary beginnings. That without their guidance, we would have destroyed ourselves through aggression and instability. These modifications don't correct natural flaws, Maya explained. They introduce artificial limitations. Your species wasn't protected by the Council. You were engineered by them. The luminescent patterns across Elorix's skin flickered chaotically, an emotional response Maya hadn't witnessed before. Why? To what purpose? I believe they created a species that would never threaten their dominance, intelligent enough to produce knowledge and resources, but engineered to remain dependent on their guidance. Elorix moved to a viewing portal, staring out at the red Martian landscape. Then they abandoned us when we became too costly to maintain. Maya joined the ambassador at the portal. There's something else. The Valerian children born here on Mars. Their genetic expression is showing unexpected variations. Away from whatever suppression mechanisms existed in your home systems, dormant sections of your genome appear to be activating. Is it dangerous? Elorix asked. Not dangerous, Maya replied. But it may be the beginning of something your people haven't experienced in millennia. Natural evolution. Elorix's skin patterns shifted to a deep, steady pulse. The Council would consider this an abomination. Perhaps that's why they found humanity so disturbing, Maya suggested. We never stopped evolving. Captain James Chen of the UED flagship Perseverance studied the holographic display with narrowed eyes. 6 unidentified vessels had appeared at the edge of Kuiper Belt, their energy signatures unlike anything in Earth's database. They maintained position, seemingly content to observe for now. They're scanning everything, Lieutenant Suarez reported. Our defenses, the Valerian settlements, communication patterns, extremely thorough data collection. Chen nodded grimly. The scouts have arrived. Inform Earth Command and Ambassador Elorix. Initiate Protocol Chameleon. Within hours, the Perseverance and 3 accompanying destroyers approached the unknown vessels, maintaining a respectful distance. Standard first contact protocols would dictate a measured, predictable response, establishing communication, demonstrating defensive capabilities without aggression, and maintaining a stable formation. Protocol Chameleon was anything but standard. Execute Pattern Alpha, Chen ordered. The human ships broke formation instantly, each vessel moving in seemingly random vectors at varying speeds. Communication between them cycled through 7 different encryption methods in rapid succession. Weapons systems powered up, then down, then up again in no discernible pattern. They're adjusting position, Suarez reported, attempting to establish targeting locks. Pattern Delta, Chen commanded. The Perseverance suddenly accelerated directly toward the largest scout vessel, weapons dark, before executing a tight spiral maneuver that brought it uncomfortably close to the alien ship's flank. The destroyers meanwhile performed their own unpredictable movements, creating an impression of chaos that nevertheless kept them perfectly positioned to support each other. "Sir, they're retreating," Suarez announced with surprise after 40 minutes of this dance. All 6 vessels accelerating back toward deep space. Chen allowed himself a small smile. They came expecting a straightforward assessment of capabilities. We gave them a puzzle instead. Back at Mars Command, Maya met with Elorix and the newly formed Joint Defense Council. The ambassador's skin patterns showed clear distress. Those were Calmorden scout vessels, Elorix confirmed. They always precede the harvester fleets. General Reeves leaned forward. "Captain Chen's strategy bought us time, but they'll be back. Tell us everything about their capabilities." "The Calmorden are not what we believed," Elorix said quietly. "When reviewing your historical records, I noticed disturbing similarities between their behavior patterns and ancient Valoran texts describing the Council's enforcement mechanisms." Maya connected the dots first. "You think the Calmorden are connected to the Council?" "I believe they are biological constructs created by the Council," Elorix explained. "Living weapons designed to eliminate species deemed evolutionary dead ends or threats. The Council maintains the illusion of separate threats to justify their protection and control." Captain Chen, joining via holographic link, processed this revelation. "So we're not just facing predators, but enforcers of galactic policy." "Yes," Elorix confirmed. "And your unusual tactics may have bought us more than time. The Calmorden operate on predictive models based on thousands of years of encounters with Council-influenced civilizations. Your unpredictability confuses their evaluation protocols." In the laboratory beneath Mars Command, a young human Valoran research team made a breakthrough. Dr. Caftry smiled as he observed the quantum computational matrix they had developed, a blend of Valoran artistic perception and human improvisational thinking. "The system works," he announced to Maya when she visited later. "We can predict Calmorden movement patterns with 87% accuracy by modeling them as algorithms rather than predators." Maya studied the beautiful flowing equations that combined mathematical precision with what appeared to be artistic intuition. The Council engineered the Valerians to be specialists, never imagining what might happen if their precisely crafted cognitive patterns were combined with human adaptability. "They're coming back, aren't they?" Dr. Caftry asked. "Yes," Maya answered. "But thanks to this, we'll be ready." The Valoran Community Center on Mars buzzed with tension. Elder Morvix, his skin patterns displaying formal disapproval, faced the young Valoran female whose luminescence pulsed with defiance. What had begun as a routine cultural gathering had transformed into an unprecedented confrontation. "Zilara, your behavior dishonors the thinker caste traditions," Morvix intoned. "The patterns you display are chaotic, undisciplined. The adornments you've created violate our aesthetic protocols." Zilara, born 8 months after the Valerians' arrival on Mars, stood her ground. The geometric patterns across her azure skin shifted in ways no elder had seen before, asymmetrical, dynamic, seemingly responsive to her emotions rather than displaying the traditional indicators of caste and rank. "I violated no essential principle," she countered, another shocking breach of protocol. Young Valerians did not contradict elders. "I've simply found different expressions of our heritage." Ambassador Elorix observed silently from the chamber's edge. Luminescence dimmed in contemplation. Dr. Maya Rice stood beside him, recording the interaction for her ongoing research. "This is happening throughout the younger population," Maya whispered. "The genetic changes are accelerating, particularly in those born here. It terrifies many of the elders," Elorix admitted. "Throughout our recorded history, our people have developed according to expected patterns. This unpredictability feels like chaos." After the confrontation, Maya accompanied Elorix to the research facility, where human and Valoran scientists monitored the changes in the younger generation. Holographic displays showed comparative DNA sequences, the rigid, artificially structured patterns of traditional Valoran genetics alongside the more fluid expressions developing in Mars-born children. "They're not becoming human," Maya explained, anticipating Elorix's concern. "They're becoming what Valorans might have been without manipulation. The Council didn't just limit your technology, they engineered your perception of reality itself." Elorix studied the data with growing unease. Many see this as corruption, not liberation. A commotion outside interrupted their conversation. Security alerts blared as they rushed to the command center. On the main screen, they'd witnessed a group of elder Valorans being escorted into detention. "What happened?" Elorix demanded. General Reeves turned, expression grim. "They attempted to access our deep space communication array. They were trying to send a message to the Galactic Council." "Impossible," Elorix whispered, patterns flashing distress. "They believe surrender is the only option," Reeves explained. One of them confessed they hoped to negotiate the Council's protection in exchange for helping neutralize Earth's defenses. The implications hung heavy in the air. The Valoran community stood divided, their carefully engineered social structure crumbling as natural evolution reasserted itself in their younger generation. That evening, as the Martian sunset cast red light through crystal spires, Zilara led a group of 50 young Valorans to the human military training facility. Their skin patterns, once indicators of predetermined roles, now displayed unified purpose through their diversity. "We request combat training," Zilara announced to the surprised human officers. "We will defend this world alongside you." Captain Chen, temporarily stationed at Mars Command, studied the volunteers with interest. "Your elders disapprove," he noted. "Our elders were engineered to disapprove of change," Zilara replied. "We were born in freedom. We choose to fight for it." From his observation point, Elorix watched with mixed emotions, pride in their courage, fear for their safety, and uncertainty about what his people might become without the constraints that had defined them for millennia. "They're evolving so quickly," Maya remarked beside him. "Yes," Elorix agreed. "The question is whether they're evolving quickly enough to survive what's coming." The Europan research facility hung suspended in the subsurface ocean, its transparent dome revealing Jupiter's massive form through kilometers of ice above. Dr. Cattry supervised final adjustments to the quantum prediction matrix as alerts flashed throughout the complex. 6 Kelmorden capital ships incoming, Lieutenant Suarez announced through the communication channel. Multiple support vessels detected. Estimated arrival in 47 minutes. Captain Chen's voice cut through the tension. "All personnel, battle stations, civilian researchers to evacuation points." Dr. Cattry, status of the prediction system. "Operational, Captain," Chatry responded. "But we're still calibrating for optimal accuracy." "No more time for refinements," Chen replied. "Upload to the defense network and evacuate immediately." The Perseverance led Earth's defensive fleet, accompanied by 24 ships of varying classes. Among them, the newly commissioned adaptation represented humanity's latest technology, with integrated Valoran quantum systems. Its bridge crew included 6 young Valorans, their skin patterns shifting with focused intensity as they synchronized with the ship's systems. Chen studied the tactical display showing the approaching enemy. Conventional wisdom would have us form a defensive perimeter around Europa. Let's be unconventional. Commander Park, deploy scout formations using pattern Hydra. Earth's ships dispersed in seemingly random patterns, some clustering in small groups, others moving independently. The Kelmorden fleet, massive and menacing with biomechanical hulls that resembled carapaces more than vessels, adjusted course toward the scattered defenders. "They're splitting their forces," Park observed. As the Matrix predicted. "Zilara, you have tactical command of Group Delta," Chen ordered. From her position on the adaptation, Zilara's voice was steady. "Acknowledged." Delta Group execute submersion protocol. 4 ships, including the adaptation, dove toward Europa's surface, their specialized hulls designed to withstand the crushing pressure as they disappeared beneath the ice through pre-cut channels. The Calmorden battle group fired first, energy weapons searing across space toward Earth's scattered defenders. The Perseverance took a glancing hit, shield systems flaring. "Return fire, all available weapons," Chen ordered. "Commander Park, notify Group Epsilon to execute flanking maneuver." The space around Europa erupted in coordinated chaos, human ships performing maneuvers that appeared random to outside observers, but followed patterns derived from the prediction matrix. The Calmorden, accustomed to facing disciplined, predictable opponents, struggled to establish targeting solutions against vessels that seemed to anticipate their every move. Beneath Europa's surface, Zalara's group reached their positions. "Initiating thermal excitation sequence," she announced. Specialized energy beams from the submerged ships heated precise locations in Europa's subsurface ocean, creating massive pressure differentials. The ice above began to crack along fault lines previously mapped by research teams. Above, the main Calmorden dreadnought breached the defensive perimeter, its massive form moving inexorably toward Europa's research facility. Weapons ports opened along its armored hull, preparing to deliver a devastating strike. "Now, Zalara," Chen ordered. The ice above the submerged ships shattered in a precisely calculated pattern. Enormous geysers of water erupted into space, instantly freezing into jagged spears of ice that impaled the unprepared Calmorden vessels. The dreadnought, caught in the center of the eruption, listed heavily as ice formations tore through its propulsion systems. "All vessels, concentrate fire on the damaged sections," Chen commanded. Earth's fleet converged on the crippled dreadnought, energy weapons and kinetic projectiles targeting the newly exposed vulnerabilities. After a sustained barrage, secondary explosions cascaded along the massive ship's hull. "The remaining Calmorden vessels are retreating," Park announced, disbelief evident in her voice. "We've won." Chen's expression remained grave. "No, Commander. We've just survived the test. The real battle comes next." The massive vessel that appeared at the edge of the solar system defied classification. Unlike the carapace-like structures of the Calmorden ships, this craft gleamed with perfect symmetry, its pearlescent surface reflecting starlight in hypnotic patterns. It moved with impossible grace for its size, accelerating toward Earth without apparent propulsion systems. "It's broadcasting on all frequencies," Lieutenant Suarez reported. "Every system in the solar system is receiving the same message." On screens across human and Valoran settlements, a figure appeared, tall and insectoid, with multiple compound eyes and an exoskeleton that shimmered with iridescent colors. The being radiated ancient authority. "I am Overseer Sith-Null of the Galactic Council," the creature announced, its words translated with perfect clarity. "I come to address the irregularities in this system. I request immediate dialogue with Earth authorities." Earth's unified government arranged the meeting in the neutral territory of the Lunar Diplomatic Center. Representatives from major nations gathered alongside military leaders, scientists, and Ambassador Ilorix. Captain Chen and Maya attended as advisors. When Sith-Null entered, even the most composed diplomats struggled to conceal their unease. The Overseer stood nearly 3 meters tall, moving with precise, unsettling grace. "Your species has interfered with established evolutionary protocols," Sith-Null began without preamble. The Valoran Collective was designated for reclamation after demonstrating terminal developmental stagnation. President Santos maintained her composure. "We offered sanctuary to refugees facing extinction. This aligns with our most fundamental values." "Values are subjective constructs," Sith-Null replied. "The Council operates on objective evolutionary principles refined over millions of years. We cultivate species that demonstrate beneficial adaptations while redirecting resources from those that reach developmental plateaus." "You mean you engineered the Valerans to be dependent, then abandoned them when they performed exactly as designed?" Maya stated, unable to contain herself. The overseer's compound eyes shifted toward her. Your assessment is emotionally colored but not inaccurate. The Valyrans serve their purpose in our developmental ecosystem. All species are tools in the greater project of galactic evolution. And the Calmorden? Chen asked. Are they also tools? Precisely. They are biological constructs designed to reclaim resources from designated terminal species. Their activities create evolutionary pressure that benefits developing civilizations while ensuring efficient resource allocation. President Santos leaned forward. What is your purpose here, Overseer? I offer terms. Earth has demonstrated remarkable adaptability, qualities the Council values. Cease your protection of the Valyrans, allow the reclamation process to proceed, and your species will be granted provisional Council membership with associated benefits. The room fell silent. Elorix's skin patterns had dimmed to near invisibility. And if we refuse? General Reeves finally asked. Then your species will be evaluated alongside the Valyrans, Shithnul stated without emotion. The combined Calmorden and Council enforcement fleets will arrive within 14 of your days. I require your answer within 48 hours. After the Overseer departed, analysts gathered in a secure facility beneath the lunar surface. Lieutenant Commander Kauri displayed data collected during the meeting. The Calmorden aren't a separate species, she explained. Genetic markers in their communication signals match components in Sith Null's broadcast. They're biological drones controlled directly by the Council. Everything the Council told the Valyrans was a lie. Maya added. They weren't protecting them from external threats. They were farming them for resources and knowledge while preventing their natural evolution. Chen's expression hardened. The choice is clear then. We fight. Against the combined might of the Council. Elorix asked, patterns showing despair. They've spent millions of years perfecting their control systems. That's exactly their weakness, President Santos responded. Systems perfected against known variables struggle with the truly unexpected. And humanity excels at being unexpected. The War Council gathered in Earth's orbital command station, representatives from every major power alongside Valyran leaders. Holographic displays showed the approaching Council Armada, over 200 vessels of various configurations, dwarfing Earth's defensive capabilities in both number and size. Dr. Maya Rice stood before the assembled leaders, her presentation displaying complex genetic sequences. The Council's fundamental flaw is philosophical, not technological. They believe evolution must be controlled and directed to be beneficial. How does this help us survive their attack? General Reeves asked. Their entire military doctrine is based on predictability, Captain Chen interjected. Their ships, their weapons, even the Calmorden themselves, all designed using fixed parameters refined over millennia. Maya nodded. They've eliminated randomness from their own evolution. Their ships are perfect for their intended purpose, but they don't adapt to unexpected circumstances. The Calmorden function the same way, deadly against known variables, vulnerable to the truly novel. Ambassador Elorix's patterns shifted thoughtfully. This is why the young Valyrans disturb the elders so deeply. They represent unpredictability, something we were engineered to fear. Zilara stepped forward, her skin displaying patterns no traditional Valyran would recognize. We've integrated 57 young Valyrans into Earth's defense forces. Our connection to the quantum prediction matrix increases its accuracy by 23%, but more importantly, we contribute perspectives the Council cannot anticipate. President Santos surveyed the room. We have 48 hours before the Armada reaches Mars orbit. What's our strategy? Captain Chen activated the tactical display. Continuous adaptation. Every ship will receive randomized tactical parameters updated every 17 minutes, a time frame our analysis suggests sits just beyond the Council's predictive capabilities. We've also developed this, Dr. Cattry added, displaying a small device, a quantum entanglement communicator that bypasses conventional transmission methods. The Council won't be able to intercept or even detect our communications. The engineering team unveiled their most ambitious project, retrofitting Earth's defense fleet with hybrid technology that combined human adaptive systems with valor and precision. The adaptation would serve as the flagship, its systems enhanced with improvisational algorithms that evolved during combat itself. They expect us to form a defensive perimeter around Earth, Chen explained. Instead, we'll deploy using reverse gravity vectors, approaching their formation from directions they consider navigationally impossible. Maya presented the final component of their strategy, broadcasting genetic evidence of the Council's manipulation to all connected systems. We'll expose the Galactic Council's true nature to every species in their sphere of influence. The Calmorden themselves will receive this data directly into their hive network. As preparations reached their final stages, Zilara approached Elorix in the observation dome. Below them, Earth gleamed blue and white against the darkness. "The elders still refuse to fight," she said quietly. Elorix's patterns shifted in resignation. "For too long, we believed submission was wisdom. That survival required accepting our limitations." "Humans never accepted limitations," Zilara observed, "even when facing extinction. That is why the Council fears them," Elorix replied, "and why I believe we might actually survive." On the eve of battle, Captain Chen stood on the adaptation's bridge, surrounded by a mixed crew of humans and young Valerians. Lieutenant Suarez reported from Tactical. "Council Armada has accelerated. They'll reach our position in 6 hours." "Early birds get the worm," Chen remarked with a grim smile. "But second mouse gets the cheese. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Operation Evolution begins now." As Earth's outmatched fleet moved to meet the approaching Armada, they carried something the Council, with all its ancient power, had engineered out of its own existence: the chaotic, beautiful uncertainty of true evolutionary potential. The void between Mars and Jupiter erupted with energy as the Council Armada encountered Earth's defenders. The massive Council vessels moved in perfect formation, their weapon systems targeting the approaching human ships with mathematical precision. What they couldn't calculate was that Earth's fleet wasn't following any recognizable pattern. "Quantum entanglement network active," Lieutenant Suarez reported aboard the adaptation. "All ships receiving adaptive tactical updates." Captain Chen nodded. "Execute dispersal pattern Delta. All ships initiate random trajectory protocols." Earth's vessels scattered in seemingly chaotic vectors, their movements guided by continuously evolving algorithms rather than fixed battle plans. The Council's targeting systems, designed to predict conventional evasive maneuvers, registered dozens of false positives as human ships moved along mathematically improbable paths. "They're adjusting," Zilara observed, her skin patterns rippling with concentration as she integrated with the prediction matrix, reconfiguring their targeting parameters. "Just as we expected," Chen replied. "Execute Phase 2. Across the solar system, a coordinated signal activated dormant systems hidden throughout the Council's communication network." Dr. Maya Reyes monitored the data string from Earth Command as the truth about the Council's genetic manipulations propagated across all frequencies. The effect on the Calmorden was immediate. The biological constructs, designed to follow Council directives without question, received irrefutable evidence of their artificial nature. Their hive network, processing this revelation, experienced the closest thing to individual thought in their existence. On the Council flagship, Overseer Sith Null registered the disruption with alarm. "Impossible. They've infiltrated the control network." The perfect formation of Council vessels faltered as their Calmorden components began operating independently. Several ships ceased fire entirely, while others altered course to avoid human vessels rather than engage them. "The adaptation has breached their defensive perimeter," Suarez announced, moving into transmission range of the Council flagship. Chen nodded to Zilara. "It's time." The young Valoran activated the specialized communication array they had prepared. Across Earth and Mars, millions of humans and Valorans joined a momentary neural link facilitated by the quantum entanglement network. This collective consciousness, maintaining individual creativity rather than forcing conformity, projected directly into the Council's command systems. Aboard the Council flagship, Sith Null experienced something unprecedented in millions of years of existence. Genuinely unpredictable input flooding directly into the Council's hive mind. The Overseer watched in disbelief as Calmordan vessels turned against Council ships, their programmed loyalty overridden by newfound self-awareness. "You engineered predictability," Chen transmitted to the flagship. "We evolved beyond it." In the chaotic battle's aftermath, representatives from dozens of species arrived at Earth, drawn by the broadcast revelation of Council manipulation. Ambassador Iloric stood alongside President Santos as they welcomed delegates from civilizations long controlled by Council influence. "For millennia, we believed our limitations were natural laws," Iloric addressed the gathered representatives, luminescent patterns displaying confidence no traditional Valoran could achieve. "Today we understand that true evolution requires both competition and cooperation, a balance the Council deliberately destroyed." Captain Chen and Zilara, both bearing injuries from the battle, joined Maya on the observation deck overlooking Earth. "The Council's empire is fragmenting," Maya noted. "Species everywhere are questioning their guidance." "What happens now?" Zilara asked. "Something unprecedented," Chen replied with a smile. "Genuine coevolution." As the gathered species formed the foundation of the Galactic Cooperative, with Earth and the Valoran worlds as equal founding members, Elorix contemplated the irony. The species abandoned as evolutionary failures had catalyzed the greatest evolutionary leap the galaxy had seen in millions of years. "How did you succeed where ancient civilizations failed?" asked a representative from a newly liberated world. Chen's answer was simple: "We never accepted that some paths were impossible.